Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. And per request from one of my subscribers, asked me to do an analysis of Al McKay's guitar playing. And for those who don't know, and I'm sure most do, Al McKay used to be with Earth, Wind & Fire. And he has a very unique guitar playing style. And I believe that, he brought a lot to Earth, Wind & Fire. Same thing like with Andy Summers to the Police. They brought these very unique ways of playing guitar. And I kind of call it a signature type of technical playing, because when you hear certain musicians, they have kind of a signature sound that really nobody else has. And another one was the guitar player for the Gap Band. A lot of his stuff was very, I guess, personalized. It wasn't just kind of the standard chords. And Al McKay to me is the same because it's interesting. When people ask me who was my biggest influence as far as guitar playing, hands down Nile Rodgers. But actually who's number two is Al McKay. And that's because he had a very good rhythmic style. Because Al McKay, a lot of his stuff was like a lot of hammer on. So it's kind of like a E or a minor 7 hammer on to an 11th chord. A lot of his stuff, Getaway, a lot of that kind of stuff. And just like what Ernie Isley uses that pinky a lot on the E string. A lot of that. Now Rodgers, the same thing, utilized that pinky on the B string. So very influenced by his playing. And as you know, he's a left-handed guitar player. And years ago I had, and I loaned it to somebody and they never returned it, Starlink's series with Al McKay. And he talks about his approach to playing rhythm. And he made a statement that I agree and kind of disagree with. But as I think about it, I kind of even leaning more towards agree with. Because he's a left-handed guitar player and he uses that thumb like Hendrix. And he said, don't let anybody tell you how to play. You play the best way you can. And I agree with that under these terms. You're playing the best way you can because this is the way that you play, and you play your best playing that way. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, just because Hendrix was playing with a thumb, they want to play with their thumb. And even though it doesn't work for them, they're trying to emulate their hero. That I don't condone. And I don't think that that's a good idea. But Al McKay, I don't believe, was trying to follow anybody. It's just that he's comfortable with using that thumb. So that's fine. But under those circumstances, because here's something interesting too. I have a Les Paul. And like I told you guys, the story behind it, somebody willed it to me. I would have not went out and spent $1,200, $2,000 on a guitar. I just wouldn't, because it's not the guitar, it's the player. And they were asking me about, the model of it and all that, because of course they don't make that guitar anymore. That was made in the 70s. It's a standard gold top. But they were trying to find something, identical, close to it. And my advice to them was this. I've been playing professionally since I was in my 20s. And don't get caught up in that marketing thing that you got to go out and spend, all that money on the guitar like your hero, because the guitar is not going to make you a better guitar player. Practicing does. I've seen guys that play guitars that cost under $100 and welling on them versus the guy that got the $3,000 guitar they can't barely play. So it's like, don't get caught up in that marketing thing, because I know it's very difficult not to, and sometimes you don't even realize you're caught up in it. But, several years ago when I had a near-death experience, that opened my eyes up to a whole lot of things around me that I paid no attention to. And one of them was that, don't go out there and waste your hard-earned money on overpriced guitars, because, I'm not a huge fan of Gibson. I'm not saying that they're bad guitars by no means. I'm just not. They real heavy. They cumbersome. I don't really care for the tone other than when it's under distortion when I'm playing rock tunes. But, as far as doing my R&B funk thing, thin body, single chord pickups, love them. I love that brightness. But that's a personal opinion. But, getting back to Al McKay. Al McKay I don't think, got enough credit when he was with Earth, Wind & Fire, because he wrote a lot of those songs. Great guitar player. He did most of the rhythm. I think Johnny Graham did more or less the lead picking thing. And Al McKay eventually left the group somewhere like in the mid-'80s because, according to him, in an interview he gave, he didn't like the direction that the band was going, so he left. because what's interesting is he is replaced with Roland. I forgot Roland's last name, and rest in peace. I think he passed away a couple of years ago. I didn't realize that actually Roland was one of the original members, and when he left, Al McKay replaced him. And then when Al McKay left, Roland came back into the band. But love Al McKay's approach to playing guitar. Now, I'm going to say this because I was going to save it for a new show I'm going to put together called Battle of the Bands, where we talk about which band you think you like the best or which one you think is better. And I was going to mention that in that segment, or when that show starts to air next month on my new channel. And one of the things that I kind of talk about as far as Earth, Wind & Fire was sometimes their arrangements were too much. And what I mean was too many things going on. I mean, horn section, several guitars, keyboard layers, whole bunch of percussion stuff, because I said this years ago, and I was kind of on the money. Love's Holiday. When I first heard that song, I said, it's too much going on. And the guitar part that Al McKay played, he actually did like an overdub of 2 parts. I was like, it's really not necessary or needed because it's just too much going on in the mix. And when you got too much going on, you can barely hear the singer. And then Earth, Wind & Fire released a version of that song stripped down without the guitars and some other stuff. And that was the first time I realized how beautiful of a voice Maurice White had, because I couldn't hear his timbre over all of these instrumentations. But when they stripped it down and took the guitars off of the mix or in the mix, it sounded beautiful. So, I think sometimes they're kind of guilty of too much stuff going on. But that's just my opinion. But I'm going to wrap this up by just saying that love Al McKay's work. He's a great guitar player, very unique because he's more heavy rhythm than anything. Because, back in the day, a lot of guitar players was kind of a mixture of picking and rhythm. But, his rhythm style stood out. And I enjoy listening to him play. And like I said, he's my second influenced guitar player because, again, I'm more so a rhythm guy. I pick when I have to, do solos when I have to. But, I feel most comfortable when I'm strumming chords because I love playing chords. So on that note, I'm going to sign off, and I hope that this has been entertaining. And until next time, take care. Thanks.